I never thought a simple goodnight routine would change the way I looked at my son, his friends, and even myself as a mother. That night, when I pushed open his bedroom door, I expected nothing more than to remind him it was late and that tomorrow was a school day. But what I saw inside changed everything about him, about his best friend, and about the way I understood love, trust, and family. My name is Laura Anderson, and I live in a quiet neighborhood in Virginia with my husband Mark and our 16-year-old son, Ethan. Ethan has always been my quiet child, the kind of boy who doesn't talk too much about what's going on in his mind but always carries this gentle, thoughtful air around him. He isn't the loud, attention-seeking type. He's more the one who would sit by the window with a book or a sketch pad while the rest of the kids his age were shouting on the basketball court. That doesn't mean he doesn't have friends. In fact, one of his closest friends is a boy named Tyler. Tyler has been coming over to our house for years. He and Ethan met back in middle school, and ever since then, they've been inseparable. Tyler was like the opposite of Ethan, outgoing, charming, always laughing and telling stories. I used to joke that they balanced each other out, like two puzzle pieces that fit perfectly together. That Friday evening had been just like any other. Mark was working late at the hospital, and I had spent the evening in the kitchen cleaning up after dinner. Ethan had Tyler over, and the two of them had gone upstairs after dinner with a bowl of popcorn and a couple of sodas. I assumed they were playing video games or watching some superhero movie like they usually did. I remember glancing at the clock on the microwave. It was already past midnight. That's when I decided it was time to tell Ethan to wrap it up. Normally, I just knocked and said goodnight through the door, but something inside me nudged me to open the door just a crack. Maybe it was mother's instinct, or maybe I just wanted to peek in and see them both before turning in.
What I saw stopped me in my tracks.
Ethan and Tyler weren't playing video games or watching a movie. They were sitting on Ethan's bed, close together, talking in hushed voices. Tyler's head was bent low, and Ethan was looking at him with this expression I hadn't seen before, so full of care, almost like he was holding a fragile secret in his hands. And then I saw Tyler wipe his eyes. He was crying. I froze, my hand still on the doorknob, not wanting to interrupt but unable to look away. Tyler's voice was shaking as he spoke, though I couldn't make out all the words. "I just don't know what to do anymore," he whispered. Ethan reached out and put a hand on his friend's shoulder, his face steady and calm.
"You're not alone, Ty.
You've got me. You'll always have me." Something in that moment broke my heart and healed it all at once. I had known Tyler for years, seen him come over with his wide smile and jokes, but I had never imagined he carried so much pain behind that laughter. Carefully, I stepped back and closed the door before either of them noticed me. I leaned against the wall in the hallway, my mind racing. I didn't know what Tyler was going through, but I knew my son was standing beside him in whatever storm he was facing. That realization filled me with both pride and a kind of ache I couldn't name. The next morning, over pancakes, I asked Ethan casually how his night was. He shrugged, giving me that teenage look that says, "It was fine, Mom." But I noticed how he kept glancing at his phone, probably waiting to hear from Tyler. Days went by, and Tyler started spending even more time at our house. Sometimes he'd stay for dinner, other times for the whole weekend. I didn't mind. It felt like having a second son around. But I also started noticing the little things. How Tyler seemed quieter than usual, how his smile didn't always reach his eyes. How he sometimes flinched when his phone buzzed, and how Ethan always tried to cheer him up. Finally, one Sunday afternoon, I found myself in the kitchen with Tyler while Ethan was upstairs grabbing something. I handed Tyler a glass of water, and he sat at the table, fidgeting with his hands. "You know," I said gently, "you're always welcome here, Tyler. This house is your home, too." For a second, he looked up at me, his eyes wide, and then he gave me the smallest smile. "Thanks, Mrs. Anderson." He hesitated, then added, "It means more than you know." I wanted to ask him what he meant, but before I could, Ethan came back downstairs, and the moment slipped away. It wasn't until weeks later that I finally understood. That night, once again, I was walking past Ethan's room when I heard voices. This time I didn't open the door, I just paused and listened. Tyler's voice was raw, trembling. "I don't think my parents even care," They're always fighting, and when they're not, they're ignoring me. Sometimes I just feel invisible. There was silence for a moment, and then Ethan said softly, "You're not invisible to me." I pressed my hand to my mouth, holding back tears. It hit me then. Tyler wasn't just Ethan's best friend. He was a boy carrying more weight than he knew how to handle. And my son, my quiet, thoughtful Ethan, was the one person who made him feel seen. That realization shifted something inside me. I started making more effort to include Tyler in everything: family dinners, weekend trips, even simple grocery runs. I didn't pry, but I made sure he knew he was wanted. Slowly, I saw his smile come back, more genuine this time. One evening, as I was tucking away leftovers in the fridge, Ethan came up behind me. He was quiet for a moment before saying, "Thanks, Mom, for everything you do for Tyler." I turned, surprised. "You don't have to thank me. He's like family." Ethan's eyes softened.
Yeah.
"That's why it matters so much." In that moment, I realized something else too, that my son wasn't just growing into a good man. He was already one. Months later, Tyler's situation at home didn't magically fix itself, but he found a second home with us. And I found that love doesn't always come in the ways you expect. Sometimes it shows up in the form of your son's best friend, sitting at your kitchen table, quietly thanking you with a smile. And all of it started with one night, when I opened a door to say goodnight, and ended up opening my heart to something bigger than I could have imagined. Because sometimes the smallest moments, the ones you almost overlook, are the ones that change everything.